Thank you very much. But at the same time, I think that all of the four presentations actually present a model that is exactly about the asset-based community development. Because in the concept of asset-based, it also depends on individuals' countries' assets. And I can see that every country has their special characteristics that make their socio-economic enterprise stands out. Just like Dr. Ben mentioned in the chat box that the models that we present today actually is a very good models that we can replicate it in all other countries. And I am so proud of our partners in different Asians regions that we can have such a great experience. And also, I found that in the chat box, actually, Daniel posed a very good question because he asked about how the local involved can keep people above profit when the motivation for any enterprise is money, especially when enterprise start to experience cash flow problems leading to accumulation of wealth. I think that this is always the struggle in any for-profit enterprise. But for us, we are about the social economy. How can we keep our people above profit making? So can our speakers share your experience of practice? I think that this is a very good, we should have very good practice wisdom to keep our enthusiasm and passion to serve.
Hi, am I audible right now?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, hi. So I think it's not about keeping people out of profit, but I think it could be merging the two. Social enterprise, the basic theme of a social enterprise is to start in the communities, but at the same time you are creating a business. You are trying to create something that moves in a circular motion, that will have an input cost and output cost, and at the end you need to have enough money to keep running it over and over again. So maybe it's not a solution, but maybe a social enterprise is something that does have a profit making, it has to be a profit making product. But the only difference is that you don't keep the profits for yourself, but rather you invest it back in the community again. Like we also saw with our mushroom program with Melanie's the brick model. You are constructing at the end, it is a construction project at the end. How we try to inculcate the social angle in this is by either hiring people who are from poorer backgrounds, from marginal communities, and by, again, reinvesting the profits that we've made from the project itself. So I mean, that's why I keep thinking like we all tend to keep saying that profits have to be completely separate and people, like our people, the marginalized people, have to be separate. But I don't really believe in that. I think we should maybe culminate the two, and that's the only way I think that a business can run, right? So that's what I think.
Yes, I think Pranati, you know, she got the idea very well. We're running it as a business, essentially. That's where, you know, so profits, we are looking to generate profits, but our model encapsulates the fact that people are at the heart of the profit, so that, you know, the people will reap the benefits of the profit directly. Of course, we need the profit because we need to sustain our ventures. We need to invest within our ventures. So maybe, you know, you don't get immediate benefits within, you know, 2 to 3 years. We look always on the long run. We have to look on the long run, because first we need to invest within the business, if I may say so, if I'm going to call it a business, because that's how we're looking at it. So we need to invest firstly in the business with, of course, the interest of the people at heart, like employment. We are ensuring their improved living standards, but also it is on the long run that you will see the reach, the impact of it, because we will be reaching out to more people. So we will start small. Like I think Pranathi's model was, they started small in Odessa, but right now we are seeing them reaching out across underprivileged communities. But yes, we are running as a business. So the interests of our people are at the heart of the venture, but of course it is a business.
Maybe I want to add some a bit there. So I think Pranati and Melanie already summarized a lot of it, but just want to add. So I think, yeah, profit, I will give Melanie that profit. We still need to be a business because we need to be sustainable. We don't want to be dependent on donors or specific people to sustain our movement, sustain the institution. And also I think profit is not really something that's inherently bad, but the question that we need to ask is who owns the profit and who have a say in how we distribute the profit. I think that's the main idea. If that's in those two, I mean, in most of the solidarity, I mean, social enterprise and social solidarity economy and cooperatives, the profit is distributed more fairly rather than the usual private companies.
Sorry, just to add, Daniel just sent a message saying that that wasn't really his question. His question was what happens when an enterprise stops making profit, and then how do you motivate the people? So I can only speak about our enterprise and how we're trying to create a circular economy. We really don't want to keep funding a project, right? That's not the end goal. The end goal is to ensure that the project gets funded in itself. So our model is therefore a circular model. What we're trying to do is give an input cost. So we have given the first nudge. And then after we do that, the community takes over at some point. Our micro enterprises are not really, we don't want to keep running them forever. We want to give an initial push, an initial nudge, and then allow the community to continue running it. How they continue running it is again based on how much we're able to teach them, how much we're able to educate them, and how they can take it forward. For example, in the mushrooms business that we told you, we're giving an input cost, they're making the produce. We're trying to create a producer group wherein they can all pool in their produce. Like suppose it takes 4 weeks to get the final produce, and they all culminate the produce, and then they find one vendor who maybe takes a wholesale amount. So, and as a group, it'll be much easier to find market links, to find people who can purchase your product. And therefore and then they get the profits, which they again reinvest in the business itself. So what we're trying to do is create producer groups so that it becomes a circular, like we're just trying to put it in a circular motion, so they're able to sustain themselves without us giving them funds again and again. So that's the basic idea.
Thank you very much, Pranati, because I think that no matter how we understand the question, finally, I think that their answers is about the central focus of the social economy enterprise, which is the people. Without the people, the enterprise cannot operate, because the model should be designed for them. If their needs have been solved, that means that they have other ways out, then maybe it is the time to have another business. Maybe we don't know where, we don't know what will be the end, but at least the central focus of the enterprise should be the people, to see the needs of our people and what are the assets in the people, how they can be developed, and then their progress of movement and improvement. So yeah, Thank you very much. I think that's wonderful. Maybe a last question, because I also find that in the discussion boards, there is a question about participatory governance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I answer that question? Because Esther's line has dropped.
Okay, sure.
To that question of Daniel. Yes, you're certainly right. For many groups that are so left behind and so poor, it's almost impossible for them to be profitable from the word go. And in my experience, it will probably take 2-3 years before they reach that level of profitability or sustainability. So how do you sustain a social enterprise from the word go and have that much longer frame of sustainability? I think what is essential is to understand the reality. They are so poor and left behind simply because they have all these levels of disadvantage. They don't have social networks, they don't have access to finance, skill sets, they don't have the ability to organize themselves. Many of these groups are very, very fragmented. So realistically, you need to think on a longer time frame. You need funding, you need supporters, either in terms of charity, development grant support, or you need it in terms of investors who have a long time frame of getting back their ROIs. Okay, that's point number one. Number two is this. You'll find that our experience with the Orang Asli, and they are the most marginalized, poorest group in Malaysia, and their environment has been destroyed. And moving into this new a commercial enterprise, if you like, which they've never been used to because they have been hunters and gatherers, they've been living on sustainable livelihoods approaches, and moving that mindset into and now a cash economy is extremely challenging. So it took us about 3 years before they were able to meet most of their own farming costs. But the important point is this: are they improving? Are they, we had to subsidize quite a lot of things at first. We had to subsidize infrastructure development, bringing pipes, pumps. Then we had to subsidize some amount of making their own fertilizer, but they covered their own allowance. And so as we saw, there was an improvement, increase in volume, increase in production, in harvest. People were making more money. We knew we're in the right trajectory, and if we needed to bring in more funds to make it grow, we as a CSO were committed towards that. The third thing was in terms of what was I going to say? That was the infrastructure support, the training and marketing support. And the third one was the values. Everyone had to see what were we achieving with all this. I mean, some needed money, and that was very important to them. Some understood that these issues were tied into the bigger picture of the sustainability of their identity, their culture, and their community, and the environment and forest. And so it's helping them understand those values more deeply, understand the challenges and how it's going to get there to their bigger goal, and what do they really want. And so it's inculcating and developing, encouraging values of sacrifice and commitment. And so on our side, our staff have to take lower pay to get them there because funding is tight. On the part of the Orang Asli, they have to be committed to take on leadership roles, committee, voluntary coordination roles at their own cost. And so as we grow that, we create that understanding, it creates the momentum to be where they are. And so today, they are almost sustainable by themselves in terms of direct farming costs. Thank you, Michelle. So sorry for that.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Thank you for your sharing. But just in response to your sharing, because maybe my terms about access, actually, it is about a social work practice that we believe that every person has the strength. As you share in the just like the third point you share, the commitment. For example, our commitment, our positive values, all these are the internal resources and strength. And we just use the word assets as our individual assets. It's not about money. So there is no clash in the two ideas, because I have my internal assets, I have the commitment, positive, attitudes, but at the same time, yeah, I'm in poverty. That's why I also need someone to boost me to so that I can maximize what I have. I can bring it into more optimals. Because I just make it in a simple terms, and maybe that make everyone confused. So I just want to have further elaboration to let you know that there is no clash in between. Actually, it is a good match. Yeah, but thank you very much for your sharing, because I agree that that is very important point. Thank you very much. So then how about James? How about the timekeeping? Can we have time to for our speakers to answer the question about participatory governance?
Yes, I think probably we can allocate another 5 more minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much. So do any of your organization practice the participatory governance? Because I can see in the discussion box about this. Do you have such experience, or what are the considerations behind that when you try to launch this practice? How about Senna?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. In our organization, yeah, participatory governance mostly for current situation, we are still only gathering feedbacks from our initial founders. Around the initial founder are 5 people, and additional founders are around 10 to 15 people. So we regularly meet with them. We tell them what are the plans, and we gather their feedbacks. They give their suggestions for new events, new contents, new ideas. Yeah. So currently we only provide the participatory governance for the initial founder and the additional founders. But yeah, like what for us, the plan is to gather all of the feedbacks from 3 types of members, who are the readers, the contributors, and also the workers. I think that's the current situation on government.
Thank you. How about Melanie? You need to unmute yourself.
Sorry.
Okay.
Michelle, could you explain the question a bit more to me? I'm a bit confused about how participation is involved, especially because our venture is a bit different too. I'm not seeing this question, and I may have missed it. So
yeah, the participatory governance, I think that in one aspect, this can be involvement of the employee in the, for example, the organization planning, or about the design of the program. We try to involve our employee in the management level. Yeah,
got it. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, so it's a bit different for us. We work with, like I said earlier, if you heard our story that we shared about the employee who, one of the employee stories that I shared earlier, we're talking about a group that has lost out on education, and lost out on skill development because of the ethnic war. Now, we also have some issues with communities like this, because they are highly dependent on welfare and handouts, in a sense. Maybe other South Asian countries can relate to, but especially post-war, post-tsunami, there were a lot of economic handouts that were given to them. So it is a bit difficult to approach them and ask them, what do you want? They would always, say we want a raise, or, they're only thinking they're thinking only about their personal gain. They have not yet seen the big picture. We are working not so far away from Relative in a community development project, where we're helping our communities understand that they can participate in their social development. We're teaching them. We're not giving them handouts, we're teaching them. But it's a process, and we are working in community development work, And like you said, Michelle, earlier, it's about increasing the access. By helping them improve living standards, by helping them save, and that increases their their security. And it'll take some time for them to realize that first we need to develop our life, our living standards, and look, we don't need handouts now to depend on. We can develop ourselves, because we also believe that employing them is also vocational training for them, teaching them little things like bookkeeping, and there's so many that we can help them build. Again, it's a long run we're looking at. We cannot we are building mindsets here. So we have, we are thinking at grassroots level, but right now we are also thinking for them in a way which is contradictory to the participatory approach. But this is because it's a social enterprise and we're running it as a business. But our community development initiatives, of course, it is a participatory approach. We are teaching them, especially local producer groups, working closely with them. We are working with female entrepreneurs, trying to build up entrepreneurship like Pranathi is doing over there in India. So that it's two different sides of the coin, but we are looking at overall improved living standards for a community that really needs help.
Thank you very much. I think that, yeah.
Can I just answer the question? Yeah, just a small thing. So I want to do it in two parts. The first is that for our model, we initially trained a batch of people. And then what we did is that we employed a few of them in our organization as the trainers for the future batches itself. So what we did is we took the best out of the first batch of trainees, and then we employed them as trainers for the future batches. So what happened is that since they're the local people, since they're part of the community, but since we employed them, they've been able to kind of guide us also as to how to get to more people, how to mobilize more people. And so this has been some sort of, there is a good fruitful discussion with them. We're always taking their opinions because we need them to guide us in the communities. We're all external people there. We're not a part of their community, and therefore we need them to guide us. So in that way, for us, it's been quite beneficial. Like the dialogue has been beneficial, but at the same time, we have not given complete democracy to them. We've not been able to completely hand over any enterprise to them, because we've seen that they're very comfortable living the life that they have right now, the whole community across different communities that we've seen, because they're very happy eating the basic food, living the basic life, and they don't really have any aspiration. So therefore, because they don't have an aspiration, they have no future goal. So it's up to us to push that, and therefore we've not been able to completely agree to everything that they say, but at the same time we do have dialogue and discussion. So
thank you very much. Then maybe by concluding the experience of all the presenters' experience, seems that it depends on the level of development of the people, their progress and their pace. If they are strengthened to the point that they can take up more, then they can take more management role. And then if they can take even more, maybe they can even be able to own the enterprise. Yeah, but it depends on their pace. I think that it is very good understand, because in some academic discussion, they always talk about whether participatory governance should be the particular elements to classify an organization as a social economy enterprise, because some organization has this practice, maybe some do not, but some maybe have limited practice. But I think that in our today's discussion, we have an inspiration that it depends on the pace of the people that we serve. I think that this is also a very good findings from our experience. Thank you very much. Actually, I enjoyed the discussion, but because of the time, I think that we need to pass the time to James first and see whether we can still have chance to have more sharing together, all of our wisdom together. Thank you very much for all of our 4 presenters, for the organization, for your wonderful experience. And James?
Yes. Thank you very much, Prof. Dr. Michelle, for great moderating, and also all the wonderful speakers. And thank you also, Onsen, you came in to stand on for Esther. That was a good show of leadership. Thank you so much. And I think it was a moment of a lot of learning. Please continue to engage, because there are some questions, some comments on the chat box. You know, the speakers can also engage. Dr. Michelle also can continue engaging with each other. And without further delaying the time, I would like to invite Dr. Denison Jayasuriya for his remark, and also followed by Dr. Benjamin later for their insights. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Denison. Dr. Unmute.
Thank you very much, James. Thank you, Dr. Michelle, for moderating the session. And thanks to all the presenters, our young presenters. I will raise a number of points, and I'm sure Ben would strengthen some of the observations and comments. I noticed Ben had a very good answer to Daniel, and that is something he might highlight. I basically have 5 points in this concluding part of the session. Firstly, on the presentations, I think I'm extremely impressed with all our young speakers. I felt there was good preparation, a good quality in delivery, a good understanding of your work, the target group. It was quite comprehensive in its approach. I would have felt might have wanted to hear more about young people in the project, either as beneficiaries or staff or in their work, but that can be for a second time. And I think it's a very good thing, and all of you are welcome to be part of ESSEC and continue in your journey in this way. Secondly, I feel there is a strength in voicing the views of the voiceless. Now, many of you use PowerPoints, but I thought Esther's video conversation at the kampong or at the village level of someone directly in the field and providing translation from Malay to English is an empowering experience of a grassroots person who might have not had an opportunity to share the story beyond a village to actually an Asian level meeting. I think we need to increase that. And I don't think these videos cost much. It's now all on handphone and we can do it and so forth. So giving voice to the target group. So seeing some pictures of Orissa or even Mullaitivu. I actually visited the project, so I know the project. And also in Indonesia, YKPM, of course, I visited the kampong. Voice to the voiceless is an important area. Third, I feel documenting these stories is an important area. I know some of you presented organizational framework, which is good, the stories, the journey, the challenges, the achievements can serve as an inspiration to others who are starting similar projects in different countries or even within your own country. I think whether it's India, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, or Indonesia, We have not had cases from the Philippines, but when the youth training takes place, very good facilitators from the Philippines will be part of that. Documenting stories and the learning journey, a process that Dr. Ben introduced to many of us when we started, is an important aspect of learning from one another and inspiring one another in self-development, content development. Some of you have moved on to your master's level and so forth. Others more from practice levels. That's the third point. Fourth, from your sharing, I felt there were a lot of technical aspects that is very useful for training and for replication. It's technical. Like I know the LEADS project on bricks is actually a technical way of compressing that kind of earth and building a house that would be cheaper, cooler, as well as effective compared and environmentally more friendly than burning bricks. So that's a technology that I know in Sri Lanka Habitat and others also developed, and LEADS developed it as an enterprise to finance and make it marketable in terms of it. So that's a technical part. Panirama, the Indian example, highlighted 5 micro businesses of different kinds: sewing, soap, sanitary, this art, mushrooms. These are all specific areas. I don't know about the artwork there, if it's traditional artwork from Orissa or one of the 4 states, then it has a lot of value from traditional art, which can be a dying trade. But these are technical aspects. YKPM's organic, the whole experience of moving nomadic or hunters-gatherers into farming and settled agriculture is in itself not something that happened over 1 or 2 months, but over years of working, social preparation, and then they have come to a stage of planting, harvesting, marketing, sale in the supermarket. But it's a long journey. But there are technical parts of the organic farm, tilling the earth, marketing, networking with private sector. All that can be knowledge that can be shared, or in the Indonesian project of getting young people to build better economic base or democracy economy in a different way, and young people in that committee who then find new avenues to develop. So I think there is technical things that you can share, and maybe James and Chandra can facilitate that so that people from across the board can then look at the costing, look at replication, look at scaling up, look at other expertise and experiences that people have across the range and area, as well as how young people are involved in this area. My final point is actually something ASEC is trying to do with the countries we are now networking with. Only in the Philippines, we have a national ASEC or SSE network, which is organized. It's informal, but it's organized with a large number of partners. They do online training, they're doing networking, they do advocacy, they have a base in UP, the University of Philippines, and so forth. And and Ben is giving good leadership there. But ASEC started this idea of focal points in different countries. Now, if Chandra and James and others want to facilitate that, we already have 4 countries here and young people from 4 different organizations or networks that they are working with. India, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines is well organized. So incorporating them in this type of a focal young leader or leaders in the country might be one step forward to encourage, to identify, and then to work with Dr. Michelle. Her foundation has allocated some funds, it's 20,000 Hong Kong dollars, to help and develop youth leadership in the region in social solidarity theme. So that fund will be with ASEC, but it's something that we can see how with the Hong Kong support, the Hong Kong people are supporting youth development in Sri Lanka, in Jaffna, through leads, reaching out to a number of young people in the village to initiate these sort of things. So ASEC's focal point might be there. And I think when Ben speaks, I hope he highlights the youth training that the SSE Academy with the Philippines network is introducing next month to bring young people across the region. Now, I got into ASEC through Dr. Ben's friendship with Ben and so forth. He's an economist, I'm a sociologist. We tried to balance each other. He talks about money, I might talk about people. He makes the profits, I try and spend it. And so we see how we can go along in the partnership. But our vision really is to identify young people like the ones who spoke today. I mean, y'all are articulate, you look young, you are able to speak well, you got good PowerPoints, but you need to come into national, regional, and global leadership. The social capital that Dr. Ben, me, and other leaders in ASEC have is the global connectivity. And while we have time, we like to share that global connectivity with the next level of leaders, whether Sri Lanka, India, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia. We need to find also a lot of young people in Malaysia to carry on so that in the next 10, 20 years, we will build a solid foundation. That is sustainability, not just for our organization, it's sustainability for the vision in the way we reach out. So those are some of my points, James. I'm sure Dr. Ben will enhance it and we can continue to work together in this area. But congrats to all the presenters. Don't give up. Don't see this as your one and only presentation. Continue to, your PowerPoints were great. The videos were very good, and let's strengthen it. Back to you, James, at this point. Thank you.
Dr. Ben, for your remark as well.
Thank you, James. I was pretty comfortable just listening because, Pranati, Milani, Zena, and the lady from YKPN, they were very inspiring. And I was thinking, I was hoping that these young people, like what Dr. Dinison has said, will come forth and hold the fort, advance the advocacy of ASEC. Because like Dr. Denison has said, we have built an international regional presence, and we need to develop young leaders to come forward and be present in these forums, in this platform. Dr. Denison has mentioned about the Young Entrepreneurs Program, in which Chandra and James are also very much involved. And I am very happy that Professor Dr. Michelle has committed to participate in this program because I thought that we could invite you to probably, take a peek in the Young Entrepreneurs Program, because we would like, to replicate this, to cascade this in different countries within this year. The reason is that next year, we will have a collaboration with the Synergia Institute of Canada to have, real platform of collaboration among different countries. They have a platform for collaboration, and, the case studies, the work that you are doing are very, very essential for motivating young people. And before I proceed, in expounding my learning of the 4 cases, I'd like to commend Daniel Alexander, for participating. He threw a really, very essential question. And I think this is one area that really is quite important for discussion of this sort. Now, let me just contribute, my the lessons that could be learned from the perspective of the social solidarity economy. We have been promoting what we call the 5 dimensions, and I see that all the 5 dimensions are present in the 4 cases. For example, when we say social responsible governance, Pranati would say, we are for the people. We serve the people. These are the, perspective of people who are really socially responsible. Yeah, we are not about talking about ourselves. We are talking about helping the people, but at the same time, the work, the enterprise that we are doing also benefits us, because we need to be sustainable to be there so that we can continue our services. And then I also saw what we, it's raining very hard in Manila, and it's, there's a thunderstorm. The second element of the enterprises, social enterprises, is ethical, edifying ethical values. The mainstream economy does not have ethics. You only have to make profit, and never mind what happens. Sena has, presented a while ago the disparity in Indonesia. Minority number of people are owning a large amount of resources. And for this reason, the initiatives that you have, the cases that you have presented, is an alternative. It really comes into what Sena calls democratizing the economy. That's what you are doing actually with your enterprise. You try to democratize the economy so that the poor people can also become owners and operators of their own enterprises. Now, the third is the aspect of what the social enterprises provide as benefits to the people. So this is in terms of social protection, this is in terms of social development, services to the people. And we know that in the 4 cases, they are really directly benefiting the people. And whatever profits, whatever income derived from this enterprise goes back to the people. The 4th is environmental conservation. And as we noted, again, in the 4 cases, there is prevalence, of care for the environment. Finally, the 5th dimension is sustainable development. And I'd like to comment again the cases because you see, there is one SDG among the UN SDGs. It's called responsible consumption and production. this is actually what we're doing, responsible not only for taking care of the benefits of the people, but also taking care of the environment. So for this reason, the cases that you have presented are very relevant in promoting the advocacy of SSE. And I hope that, you will take seriously the challenge of Dr. Denison to be, maybe volunteer or, try, to serve as focal point, for promoting this kind of enterprises, not only in your country, but in Asia and also internationally. With the help of the Professor Dr. Michelle, James, and Chandra, I hope that, this platform for the youth can carry on so that in the years to come, you can be part of the ASEAN People's Forum, the Asia-Europe People's Forum, the ILO Academy, and so forth. We have also in ILO the South-South and Triangle Cooperation. What is South-South and Triangle Cooperation? It's very much what this platform, what this program is promoting. Cooperation among developing countries for purposes of advancing the people's benefits. So congratulations once more to James, to Chandra, to Professor Dr. Michelle for making this possible. And I hope you'll continue to do this so that more young people can come on board and contribute to the effort. Thank you very much. Back to you, James.
Thank you, Dr. Ben. That was very inspiring with your very nice background sound of thunderstorm and all that. That was very interesting as well. Yes. So thank you so much once again. I think this is the time, what as Dr. Ben and Dr. Denison have reminded us, they are the founders of this ESSEC, of this movement. And today, young people, I can also consider myself young. Don't just look at my white beard, think that I'm almost 60, 70 years old. I'm just 48, still going strong. Thank you so much once again. So this is the network that we want to build, which is, we are fulfilling SDG 17, the multi-stakeholder partnership, and a lot of young people are here. We want to reach out to more young people who are not here. So you will be our eyes, our ears, our everything to bring them, to replicate, to scale it up, to learn rich knowledge. Even like today, you see, there's a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, a lot of networking, is happening here. And we really want to hope, that's our objective, to form a youth SSE group and also, to share so much of values, so much of knowledge, skills, I can see all of us have. And with our common goal, that is to have a better world, so that we can prepare a better world for the young generation. Yes, Dr. Ben, we really hope that we will continue this, and you will hear from us. Most of you, you will hear from Chandra, or you will hear from me, on our next SEC youth engagement. We want to get more case studies coming in. We want to reach out to more ASEAN countries, youths. And if you have any other contacts, with the similar model that we have presented, you could always let us know. And when we form the youth group or the youth SSE group, when you hear from us, please give us your support. And we want you to come on board. And I have two announcements. I think one of it that Dr. Ben has already mentioned on the, ESSEC will host the Young Entrepreneurship Program. We will give you we will furnish you with further details. When you hear about this, please come, give your support, learn about the SSE model, and also how we can actually introduce this practices, this model into our SEC business practices and also enterprises and all that. So this is going to be about a 6-week course, to understand SEC. It'll be very interesting. We have a lot of trainers who experience on this, will be training us on, on this model. So thank you so much. And Chandra, you wanted to show something. You wanted to show a slide. Yes, I think this is our email address. Our name is, as you know, ASEAN Solidarity Economic Council, ESSEC, and this is our email address. Connect at ssec-sse.com. So please be in touch with us, and we also want to be in touch with you continuously. So and we will journey this together. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prof. Dr. Michelle, for your good moderating. We will have more of this coming soon, and we need all of your support. Thank you so much. Can I have Dr. Dennison, Dr. Ben, and Chandra to stay on just for a quick post-mortem? Thank you. Thank you. All the best. God bless you all. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everyone.